Okay.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
This is a new series that we are starting on the page, and we are going to have wonderful conversations in this time of lockdown with Maharaj Shri. And he has been enlightening us throughout the lockdown, various topics, and there has been so many discussions that have happened. And we realize that people are so stuck. So I think this is very important time to get some enlightenment. So Maharshi, I welcome you here on the live, and thank you so much for sparing
Thank
time for us.
Hare Krishna.
And now in this first episode, I welcome a very, very special guest, someone we love so much and Maharshi loves so much, is Param Puja, His Holiness Indradyumna Swamiji. And welcome, Maharshi. Thank you so much for sparing time for us and coming with devotees and sharing. And welcome to Vrindavan. I learned that you were in Vrindavan for lockdown. I don't think there could be anything better. So a lot of people aspire that. So that is wonderful. So please tell me, how is your lockdown going, Maharshi?
You know, I think if we have to be on lockdown anywhere in the world, probably the best place to be is Vrindavan, because this is Krishna's home. And it's very easy to remember the Lord in such an atmosphere. And I think that's appropriate in these dangerous times to remember who is our actual protector, Lord Krishna. So I feel very safe here and very happy here, and I'm going very deep into my bhajan.
That is wonderful. And Maharshi, I would like to ask you, you've been interacting and giving the sessions on Gita and everything. How has it been for you? What did you learn in this lockdown? You got so much time. I don't think so you've ever had so much time to yourself in your 30 years. So how has it been for you?
You know, I consider myself an aspiring devotee. You know, officially I'm a devotee of Krishna because I'm part of this Hare Krishna movement. But and I'm living in Vrindavan, which is the highest abode of the Lord, where Krishna had his very loving pastimes. But I'm spending a lot of my time reading Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita, you could say, is the introductory teachings to this Vedic culture, to understanding our relationship with God. So I've been studying the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita for over 50 years now, and I'm still learning. It's such a very deep scripture. It's the scripture that brought me to this beautiful country of India, because I couldn't find a philosophy that could match Bhagavad Gita. So I'm studying Bhagavad Gita, and I'm following Pundrik Goswami's talks on Bhagavad Gita. And so I'm very inspired here in Vrindavan, studying our ABCs of spiritual life, Bhagavad Gita.
And Purit Maharaj, I want to ask you how about your lockdown and the sessions that you've been doing. How are you balancing your life? Like, you were so used to being with devotees and interacting. Now this has changed, and it is affecting normal people so much. But I see you still happy, still radiating. How are you managing that? How are you managing this whole change that has come into our lives, Pundrik Maharaj?
You know, I've been very
I offer
big.
my pranams to Indradyumna Swami Maharaj, and it's so good to see you, Maharaj.
Thank you,
And
Goswami.
I'm thankful that now the two things are happening together in conversations. We both are having a conversation together. We can see us, each other. And then when all the shastras which has been created, they're always the two people who were having a talk, and that become a scripture. Arjuna and Krishna were having conversation, that became Bhagavad Gita. And Shuka and Parikshit having a conversation became Srimad Bhagavatam. Similarly, we both, you are very close to my heart, Maharaj, and I love you wholeheartedly. And I could see you in this time, and then everybody maybe will get inspired also because of this talk. So as Arushi has asked me that how's everything going on, it was such a fascinating time. I cannot go outside, but I have gone inside me a lot. And as Maharaj also said that there's a beautiful bhajan sessions has been going. I was too much into, especially when I was giving 18 days katha on 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. I was actually getting so much time thinking, connecting how to present it to the even the very bona fide devotees, or even to the one who are very started in their bhakti process. And I've been talking with the sadhus and also spending a very good family time. As you said, Arushi, definitely this was the first time in my whole life when I was at, say, one place from last maybe 2 months. And same with Indradyumna Maharaj. I know him. He is so fiery. I've seen him. And even when he was not well, still his mission was going on. And but how the things is happening. But the most beautiful thing is, Maharaj, what do you think about it? That many people, what they were doing continuously, the things somehow stopped, and few were doing business, few were, of course, running their different things. But then because of this coronavirus, COVID-19, the routine things were stopped, and they are somehow depressed, they are somehow tense, they are somehow stressed out. And look at yourself. Even if I tell you my own routine, and I've been talking to some other gurus and spiritual leaders, they were also into same process of being so much busy. In fact, they were so busy. Look at yourself. You are not just handling one thing, you are handling millions of beautiful soul. And even when you stopped your routine, you're still looking so peaceful. Many sadhus still looking so happy. So, Maharaj, what do you think? What is this which gives so much inner energy when somebody chooses this path of spirituality?
Well, Goswami, I think that the present situation, neither you or I have chosen that, because as you said, we're very active preachers, and by Lord Krishna's grace, our spiritual paths have crossed both here in holy Vrindavan. We did programs together in other parts of India, and we were together in the West. You were in Poland with me on my Steps of the India tour. So all of a sudden, the curtain closed. It just closed.
Yeah, I can understand. Yes.
Not by choice, we're doing what we do today, but this is the duty of a sadhu, to spend time internally cultivating his relationship with God, with Krishna, through chanting the holy names, through studying the scriptures, so that such a sadhu can share his deep realizations with the public. So I'm hoping that this coronavirus will come to a halt at some point. They're giving different time frames, but then we'll all be back on the road. But this is a good time for focusing, because we've just been so busy traveling. So I see it like you could say, a silver lining in the dark cloud of the coronavirus. And really, this is where not only ourselves, but people who may not consider themselves sadhus, they're businessmen, they're students, they're politicians, everybody needs to take time to go within, understand who they are as a spirit soul, understand their connection with God, and develop that relationship, because that's the ultimate purpose of life. We may be busy with our material affairs, but really it's the spiritual part of life that's the most important, and that's where we find our real happiness. There's that classic saying,
that's true.
Happiness is from within. So you were born into this culture. I stumbled across this culture, but we've both taken it to heart, and that's the basis of our friendship. Although we come from different countries, different cultures, different languages.
True. Even the age gap is there, Maharaj.
The age gap is there. I'm old enough to be your grandfather.
That's true. You're the age of my grandfather. That's true, Maharaj. And I'm your grandchild. Still, sometimes when we walk or talk, it feels like two same age, two buddies are walking.
And I wanted to ask you, Goswami, like, I came across Krishna consciousness in my youth. I was around 19, and I started then. But
can you tell us the whole story, Maharaj, quickly? That how you came into this whole bhakti process? Yes.
In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there's 4 types of people that come to him. People who are curious about God, people looking for some material boon, people who are in distress, people looking for knowledge. So I guess I was the third category. I came out of distress. I had everything. I came from a very affluent family. My parents were quite wealthy. I had everything you could ask for. I was a red-blooded American boy, but I didn't find I wasn't fully satisfied. And I think that's typical of material life, that you try and try and try, but you don't get that satisfaction you're looking for. So that led me to on a spiritual search. I was around 20 years of age. I started looking into spiritual things, read the Bible, read the Torah, I read the Quran, I read the Lotus
Oh, wow.
Sutras of Buddha, and I traveled around. But it was only when I came in contact with Bhagavad Gita here in India that I found all the answers to my questions. I had good questions, and the answers were there.
Wow.
So I consider it like perfect questions, perfect answers. And once I found that Bhagavad Gita, I, took to this Vedic culture lock, stock, and barrel, you could say. I gave up all my bad habits. I even started wearing dhoti and kirtan, kantimal and tilak. I started chanting the mantras Hare Krishna, and I took initiation from my spiritual master, Sri Prabhupada. I spent a lot of time in India. I consider myself the adopted son of this great country.
Wow, Maharaj. Such inspiring,
Wonderful.
such inspiration. What an inspiration. People even of India should understand this, I would say, Maharaj. People, those who have this spiritual inclination, Maharaj, they are the only people who can find peace even in such hardships. And how you have said that this is the real wealth of this country, I would say, Maharaj.
That's my great joy, and it's also my sadness that I see the Vedic culture, the original culture of India, it's disappearing very quickly. People are enamored by the West. The West has many good things to offer us. We're speaking by, science and technology here, but it should never be at the expense of our spiritual lives. And no country like India has such a spiritual culture and such a deep spiritual knowledge. So I really hope that with the progress that's going on in this country, they won't lose that deep spiritual insight that we have here in India. That's my prayer.
That's true, Maharaj. That's true, very true, Maharaj.
We have a lot of viewers with us, and I would request them, if they have any question, these opportunities don't come every day. So I believe that if there are some questions to come from, we are happy to take them. And I think we're kind enough saints we have with us who would like to resolve those things. Another thing that Maharashi mentioned, and I would to ask both of you, that as you mentioned that you are someone who stumbled upon it, and Pundrik Maharaj, you are someone who was born into it. And as a commoner, as a person who comes from a normal world, I would like to understand, what is that changing point? What is that one essential thing that, and especially in times like this, when we are actually stuck with our own selves? I wouldn't say we're stuck in a house, but with our own selves. What is the first step we as youngsters or common people or people who are stuck in material world can adopt to bring that change and not be scared to look within ourselves?
Goswami?
Maharaj, you can answer that better, but what I can say is that, see, in the whole world, there are two ways. One, as we say, is the capitalistic way. If I use the word in Hindi, that means, I would say, dhana marga, that money is everything. And in this present situation, that capitalism is somehow stuck. You cannot do, no matter how much you have, if it's millions and millions of dollars or maybe a single penny, still it doesn't make a difference because you cannot afford. The second way is the dharma marga. The dharma marga is the path of spirituality. If you, as I said in Bhagavad Gita, that in the car there are four major components. One is its outer body, which has its aerodynamics. Second is its engine. Third is its fuel. And fourth is the driver. And if they all combine together, then you will have a pleasant drive. Similarly, this whole body, as in Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna says, majorly consists of four things only. It also has this external body, which is your physical existence. Then it has intelligence. Then it has, intelligence is the driver. Then it has mind, which is like the engine, but it also has fuel, which is your soul, which is your spirit, which is a spirit. So even if the four things can align together, then you will have a pleasant journey. But there are many people who have a good engine, who have a good driver. They maybe have a good car, but they forget to put the fuel in.
Absolutely.
If they have that soul consciousness, then that's the start of their spiritual journey. And in India, that's how everything is connected. It's just not related to your physical existence. It is not just the satisfaction of your intellectual state. It is not just the satisfaction of your emotional state. Everything, whatever we look here, has a little more deeper insight to it, and which is your spiritual existence. And as Indradyumna Maharaj just recently said, the happiness comes from within. That when that consciousness would come, then I would say even this lockdown period will not be effective, because, as my father used to say, that there are so much in the Western world, there's so much for the outside world, but in India there is so much for the inside world. And as soon as that you realize your inside word, you will slowly feel satisfaction. And these things will not affect you. Maharaj, what do you think?
Well, we say in amongst the sadhus that repetition of something is required to fully understand the point. So I would just like to reemphasize what you're saying, that what you quoted me, that happiness comes within. I think the basic point to understand from the very beginning is that we're not these bodies. You were giving a nice analogy of that. If you ask most people, who are you? They'll immediately present themselves as the body, but that couldn't be further from the truth. We're not material, we're spiritual. And if you think about the body, I often give the example that the medical profession, they say the body is essentially 72% water. That's a medical fact, 72% water. So if you think about it, am I that? Am I a bag of water, or something more profound, something more dynamic? So that's the basic philosophy. We're not the body. So we have to look elsewhere for our pleasure, because the pleasure of the body, it comes and it goes. But the nature of the soul inside the body is that the soul wants constant happiness, constant pleasure. That's the symptom of the soul. Like sugar's sweet, salt is salty, water is wet. What's the soul? The soul's looking for happiness. So the happiness we find in material life, trying to satisfy the senses of the body, it's like, there's a thirsty man and you give him one drop of water on his tongue. He's not going to be happy. So no matter how much you try to enjoy through the body, you're not going to reach your full potential. You have to go within. And the happiness of the soul is that the soul is an eternal part and parcel of God, of Krishna. God is very great and we're very small. So our happiness comes in service to God. That's called bhakti, or devotion. So as soon as you come into a process like bhakti yoga or Krishna consciousness, as we may call it, awakening your love for God, then you experience an unlimited amount of pleasure. Unlimited amount of pleasure through singing God's name, through reading the scripture about him, through serving him in the temple, or so many ways we can serve God. That's where the real happiness comes. And the proof is that the sadhus, they may not be very busy in material activities, but they're very busy cultivating their relationship with God. Therefore, you see, they're always peaceful and they're very happy, because if you just struggle to enjoy the senses, you're just going to be frustrated because you'll never find that real satisfaction. My spiritual master gave the analogy of a bird in a cage. If you walk by a pet shop and you see a bird in a cage and you're just enamored by the cage, and you buy the cage and you take the cage home and you polish it, you've lost the point. You got to feed the bird inside. So the body's a cage and the bird inside the cage is the soul. So yes, we have to take care of the body, but we should give more emphasis to the soul. And that's the beauty of lockdown. Lockdown gives us the opportunity to just, keep the material things simple, but go within and water that tender creeper of devotion for God. This is a mixed blessing, the lockdown. We shouldn't be in stress and anxiety. I can't enjoy. You can't enjoy anywhere out there anyway. So what you have to do is chant God's name and read Bhagavad Gita.
What outside thing is, Maharaj, is that how economics says the law of diminishing marginal utility. that outside, because there are so many different varieties has been proposed, still it is limited. For example, if you just go and buy a car, so they would just give you 15 different color options of the car, still little limited. But you find, because there are 15 options, you find it unlimited. So somehow when you're used to a one thing, and then when the pleasure into that started diminishing, then you just choose the another thing, and
Yeah.
then you choose the third thing, then you choose the fourth thing, then you choose the fifth thing. But in that lockdown, you don't have the options left, and that's the reason you are feeling so much sad, and you're not realizing it. For example, if somebody, as Maharaj just said, Maharaj, you gave us beautiful example of even your spiritual master, of that bird in a cage. And I was also saying the other day that when you put the bird for the first time in the cage, she struggles a lot. She cannot survive. She makes so much weird sounds. She may cry. But then after maybe few days, she just feels like this is what my word, the whole word is. And sometime when you open the door of that cage also, she will not fly away, because she will think that, okay, this is what the whole, if somebody you put it in the prison. Maharaj, I have also heard that you were in the military. Was that true?
Oh.
Mavan, it stopped.
Oh, is it? Okay. We cannot hear Maharaj's voice, I think.
I think we
Haribol?
have.
Yeah, so I will just continue that what I was
Mhm.
saying, Arushi, that
Yes.
if you put somebody in the prison for the
Mhm.
I pray to the God that nobody should go to the prison, but then just in case, because of whatever situation somebody goes to the prison, then for the
Mhm.
first day, definitely he will cry for the family, he will think about the outside world, he will do whatever. But then just after few days, because he would realize that, okay, I cannot just keep on thinking about outside, and slowly he will start developing relationship with other prisoners which he has. Now he will get into the politics of prison. Now he will get into the different, I would say, scenario what happens in the prison. And after maybe a year, he will not even think about outside. He will just get adjusted into it. This is what happened to us. What just recently Maharaj was saying, that if we just don't know that we got into this prison, this cage of our physical existence, and somehow we just forget, and we found that this is the whole world, just like a frog in a well. He'll spend the whole life in the well. And then, so this is the time, because that law of diminishing marginal utility will not work. You have limited stuff. So there would be a moment that you will feel sad. It is impossible that you will not feel sad, but then take the sadness as an opportunity, that, okay, actually it was something inside me, and the outside things were just the igniters. The fire was within me, just outside, maybe sometime the car, sometime the house, sometime the people, sometime whatever. So the thing is, they were just the igniters of that happiness. But because the outside world is being limited, if you're able to find which is inside you, then no matter, your happiness would be independent. That's what the independence is. And to look into that, just like even if you dress yourself, but you still have to go and see a mirror. If you look in the mirror, then you can see how good you are looking. As we starting a live broadcast, Mara said that, Pundarik ji, your beard is looking nice. I said, wow. I said, Maharaj, your shaved head is looking nice too. So then it's a beautiful thing. So similarly, as we should go to these scriptures, as Goswami Tulsidas also said, Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raj Nijman Mukur Sudhari. As Shiv Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also used the word Darpana, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Darpan means the mirror. This is the mirror which will tell us that there's something deep within you. And this is the time, it is in your hand, that we just want to waste this time by crying that this is not happening, that is not happening, this is not happening. Maybe I have to pay the bank CMI, I'm not able to do my business. Or maybe you can go somewhere deep inside you. As I even said before, Arushi, that you have two options. When this lockdown opens, you might behave like that some animal was in the cage and he was released now. and you can behave wild, or their second option is that maybe you are somewhere in the cave of Himalaya and some enlightened or awakened person has come out.
Stop
So the God realization is very, very important this
breaking up.
time.
That is that. Marshi, do
Maharaj,
we
I was
have?
asking before. Maharaj, can you hear me? Arushi? Maharaj, can you hear
I
me?
can hear you.
Swami,
I
yeah,
was
he's here.
asking that you told me once
I
that
can
you were
hear.
in the military before in America.
I was.
Yeah,
I had a patriotic streak in me,
wow.
and I
I think there is
lived
some
in
issue with.
America, and again, it just it. Oh, nothing's happening.
Yeah, we can hear you, Maharaj.
Why is this happening? Hold on a sec.
Yeah, you can come back, Maharaj. You can just restart it, I think.
I think yes, there's some
Okay, yeah, we're
network
starting
problem.
now.
But we can hear you now, Maharaj.
Yeah. Okay. You know, again, the military was a good attempt to try to, you know, experience something more of this world. You know, I had a patriotic spirit to help my country. But what I learned from Bhagavad Gita, I think, is very important. That it's important to see this world through the eyes of the Creator.
Wow.
You know, when someone creates someone creates a product like a new product, you know, a phone, or he creates a building or a bridge, then that person knows that product better than anyone else. So if we want to understand what is this world and what we're doing here, we should hear from the Creator. And the Creator came to this beautiful country of India, chose to come to India again and again, because this is a pious country. He came 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna, and he spoke the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. And in the Gita, Krishna made it very clear what is the nature of the world we live in. He said, Abrahma bhuvana loka punar arvitu arjuna mamopetiti kontiya punarjanmana vidyate. That from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all the places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. Now you can't contest that because it's coming from the man, from the Purushottam, the Supreme Person who created it. And although we can make it a little easier with science and technology, you know, we can make life a little easier. We can't overcome like the four main miseries of material existence that we all struggle with: birth, disease, old age, and death. There's no person who's ever conquered birth. Disease just keeps coming. We get older and eventually everyone dies. So one of our great saints, Narottam Das Thakuri, said, here I am in the middle of a Holocaust trying to enjoy myself. Like, how can you really enjoy in a Holocaust? You know, you can have a few moments of pleasure, some relief from the battle, or you get a mango lassie, or your marriage day, or something like that. But basically, life's a big struggle for existence. So what an intelligent person does, he's very honest. He realizes that this is a place, Dukkalayama Shashvatam. So what should I do? I should try to find an alternative, you know, a positive alternative. And the alternative is given in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says that one who comes back to my abode never takes birth again in this material world. So how do we get back to the spiritual world, which is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss? We start the process of yoga, bhakti yoga, whereby we cleanse our hearts and we awaken our love for God. And it's not just meant for sages. Krishna was speaking to everybody in Bhagavad Gita. Even the most common person in any country can start chanting Hare Krishna, read Bhagavad Gita, come to Vrindavan, see Radharaman. So many things. So this is, you know, really, India has the solution to all the problems of life by the fact that if we practice Krishna consciousness and we go back to the spiritual world, there's no problems in the spiritual world. You don't read of any problems there. So this is why I chose this particular path, because it's so completely perfect. There's perfect philosophy and there's a perfect culture behind it. And we're simply amazed by persons like you, Goswami, who got a head start on us Westerners. Again, we stumbled on it, but you were born into this culture. So I'm really interested. How is it that, you know, what was the difference between my birth and your birth? I mean, I've heard in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that the unsuccessful yogi takes birth in a family of wealthy merchants or in a family of transcendentalists. And from there, they continue their path on. So I want to know how, I mean, we've heard my story, but your story must be most wonderful, that from the day you were conceived, you were straight on the spiritual path, and how we can be inspired by your example.
Maharaj, I'm
Your
so
life.
grateful that your story was also extremely interesting. I was in this culture, so is automatically we would adopt that. But of course, how you accepted, that's also inspiring for everybody. If I tell you about myself, as you said, it is very right. It's a grace of my mother that I would say the day I was
Mama.
conceived, I've been hearing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Hari Nam. Since childhood, I think my mother had been going to take the darshan of Radharamanji every day, maybe in that 9 months of that womb. So all these things were happening. But as you said, Maharaj, there are many different people also who born in a very transcendental family, but somehow nothing happens to them. They just go with very normal life. So what I personally believe is that there are few things which matters. First thing is, of course, nature, nurture, and then culture. These are three things which makes a life. So a nature is the first point, which you have just recently said, that as Bhagavad Gita talks about yoga brashto bijayate, there is somebody who somehow somewhere left behind his austerities. So he leaves his present body and takes birth at the time of conception in a very transcendental family. So that is a nature. And then second thing is the nurture, Maharaj, the nurture which I got in that 9 months. So because of my grace of my father and then my grandfather, everything somehow, so the jiva was something. And I would say it's a grace of Srimati Radharani that she has given us the birth in Sri Vrindavan, because without her kripa, even Lord Brahma and other devatas will not able to even enter to this transcendental abode. So she gave us that birth first. So it's I will never say that is my achievement, because then she will throw me out. It is her kripa, Maharaj. So first thing is that, and then second thing is, Maharaj, that nurture is the kripa of my parents. That I remember that how my mother must have been spending time reading Srimad Bhagavatam and everything, because she's the one who told my wife also, and when my wife were pregnant, she did the same thing with my both the daughters. So we all tried to give the best spiritual things at that time. And then third thing is the culture. And above than that, Maharaj, what changed me is that one day I remember, Maharaj, because ultimately there are many people in Vrindavan. Everybody in Vrindavan, I would say everybody had that nature, and I would say they have not too much, but a very good nurture. And of course, the whole Vrindavan culture is Radhe Radhe. So everybody get these three things. But what was different with me is the Maharaj, kripa of my Guru. I cannot forget one day, Maharaj. I was in the school and it was the birthday of my grandfather, who's my Guru also, Pujapat Shri Pundrik Goswami Maharaj, who have been very close to Srila Prabhupada also. Maharaj, I went to his, I went to just wish him happy birthday on one of his birthday in his ashram when he took sannyas. After that, I offered the garland and then I did my pranams. He put his hand on my head, and I can still remember that. And it was there for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And then when I stood up, he looked at me and he had tears and he just told me, I give you whatever I have.
Wonderful.
This is what I could say, Maharaj. Being in this, so even after nature, nurture, culture, the biggest thing is, Maharaj, the kripa. And I can see this is what happened with you, Maharaj, also. Maybe it was not the nature. You born in America, maybe the nurture was different. Maybe the culture was different too. But the kripa of Bhagavad Gita and your spiritual master, see, how bona fide you have become. Even most of the Indians can't compete with you, Maharaj. That's why I love you.
I think that
we have a question coming from a viewer for a
Let, let,
while.
let, but Arushi, let Maharaj speak. Let Maharaj, well,
Yeah,
you're
you were
saying
saying
something, then
something.
you go with
Sorry.
it.
Yeah.
In one sense, it's astonishing that Western people can become Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. You know, when I first came to India in 1971 or 72, people were staring at me like, how is this possible? Some were accepting, some weren't accepting, but it's really not so surprising because Krishna says in Gita, Aham bija parapita, that
Ji,
he's the seed-giving father of all living entities. Krishna
that's
is the
true.
seed-giving father of all living entities. So in one sense, we're all brothers and sisters because we have the same father. Not
That's true.
material father, but we have the same spiritual father. So if some of us are kind of on the path and some of us are off the path, we're all essentially devotees of Krishna. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jiver Supoya Krishna Nityadas.
Jiva Swarupa Nitya
So,
Krishna Das.
you know, you are a devotee by birth, and I'm a devotee by spiritual birth, but we've both come back on track and we're back to the spiritual world. So
We have the same path, Maharaj. That's why we are
Australians,
that's why we
Chinese
are
becoming
supporting each other,
because we're all
Maharaj.
devotees of Krishna.
That's why we are supporting
So,
each other, Maharaj. There's no competition. Arushi was asking something.
yeah.
So we have a question from a devotee called Saurav Bhattacharya ji, and he's asking both of you that does Guru find a disciple or disciple seeks for Guru? I think we're talking so much about Guru and the significance of Guru in one's life. So he wants to know, how does it work? Does a Guru find a disciple or the other way around?
Maharaj, what do you think?
Brahmanda Brahmati Konya, Bhagavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasad, Pai Bhaktilat Bij. That we've been wandering through this material creation. We've been wandering through this material creation since time immemorial. But when the Lord in the heart sees that we're frustrated with this material existence and we want to get out and go home, then he sends the spiritual master to find us. Guru Krishna Prasad, Pai Bhaktilat Bij. It's never a material phenomenon. It's never due to karma or material destiny that we meet our guru. It's an arrangement of God. Because we can't go to God directly, we have to go through God's devotee. Krishna says, one who says he's my devotee is not my devotee, but one who says he's a devotee of my devotee, he's my devotee. So the first blessing that God gives us is he sends his representative.
Very true, Maharaj.
Follow him back to the spiritual world. So there's different ways to answer the question. Sometimes, I remember one of my god sisters in her offering to her guru, she said, Guru Maharaj, it took you so long to find me. Please don't kick me away. In Vedic culture, the disciple would go to the ashram and find the guru. Kali Yuga is such a horrible age. No one's looking for guru. So guru comes and finds us. And by his blessings, we start the path, we're on the path, and we go home. It's guru. Goswami?
Very true, Maharaj. You have quoted Chaitanya Charitamrita, so I cannot say anything else. And this was our Vaishnav's tradition is. I will just add a bit thing into that is that because somebody have already asked it. So if the process becomes a little easy, if you have sometimes this eagerness of having a guru too. But as Maharaj said, yeah, so as Maharaj also said that, but because many people even don't have the requirement of having a guru is, then what happens is they don't even think that, okay, this is what needed. So then sometime at that moment, sometime you need to, there if I talk materially, if there's a new product is launched, so first thing what they have to do is that they have to establish the requirement of that product, that people even need that product, that if you use this product, for example, if nowadays so much sanitation is need to be required. So Arushi was telling me the other day that there's a new product come which can sanitize your house. So now they want to promote those videos, and then people will buy that. So until if those don't have even requirement of Krishna, don't have the requirement of or don't even have that spiritual requirement, they will not look for guru. But a real guru is that, no, even Nityananda Prabhu changed Jagai Madai also. So a real guru is above all the respect and hate. And just if you put anything in the fire, that would be impacted by the fire. A Krishna's devotee is like this. A real Vaishnava Bhakt is like this. But somebody has already asked about this, so if I personally recommend him, is that it is so good that you have this eagerness of knowing. So Krishna will definitely bless you and you will find the Guru.
I'd like to add, Goswami, that, even if one has no spiritual qualifications and is not looking for a guru and may not get a guru because they have no interest, the mercy of the Yuga avatar, the God in this age, because he comes in every age and gives a particular dharma or process for self-realization. We're very fortunate, although we're born in this horrible iron age of Kali, which has no good qualities, we're very fortunate that the incarnation is Lord Chaitanya, the golden avatar. And he's even more merciful than Krishna. And in our teachings, we understand that agyata sukriti, that if one serves Krishna without knowing it, he gradually develops the qualifications for becoming a devotee. And that we see in the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, that he sends his devotees out onto the streets and they sing very loudly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
And when people hear that transcendental sound vibration, they become purified. And that devotional purification is called agyata sukriti. It qualifies them for another bite of mercy. They can hear the mantra again, and if they go to a Hare Krishna restaurant, or they come to Vrindavan, and they go to Radharaman temple, and they're tourists on their way to Agra, but they see Radharaman, that's agyat sukriti. They don't know it's devotional service, but Krishna takes it as devotional service. In this way, they build up their qualification, and then they become qualified to come in contact with a saintly person like you.
That's right. No, like yourself, Maharaj. It is like yourself.
So it's very important we broadcast the mantra all over the world so people get some spiritual qualification.
Yeah. Sometimes just if you take out a dirty gold, you have to clean the dirt on it, then the real gold will come up.
Yeah.
So the best recommendation is, even if you have a guru, if you don't have a guru, you should keep on doing the Hari Naam. Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And even if you chant it loudly, people will hear it and it will clean your heart. So technically, I wanted to do this live broadcast just for 20-25 minutes, but it's already 40 minutes. I don't realize, Maharaj, because we both are on the same path. I didn't realize that. So I would say the last thing is that I can also tell it is from your behalf, that it is the keep on utilizing this time and keep on doing your sadhana as much as you can, because that would give you so much inner strength, Maharaj. You agree with me, Maharaj?
100%. And the beauty of this lockdown is we got to spend time together, more time than we usually get to spend together because we're so busy. So yeah, it's a silver lining in the dark cloud of coronavirus that we can all be together on the internet.
This corona is also behaving like karuna, mercy.
Coronavirus.
It's a mercy of the Lord. So you should take it like this. It's so good to see you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Goswami. And thank
Arushi,
you to Arushi.
You want to say something?
Thanks,
Thanks to Arushi for coordinating this for us.
That's right. It was
Devesh
totally
also
a blessing.
helped us, Maharaj, to set up this. And I would request you that we will have more talks like this, and it will definitely enlighten everybody. It's such a nice thing, such a easy, I wouldn't say there's so much formality because there's a hard connection, and you could easily share your thing. I was so easy with you, and thanks to everybody, and also to all the viewers for paying attention and accepting what we are saying. And you please take care, stay home, stay safe, and keep up your sadhana. Arushi,
Hare
would
Krishna.
you just conclude it and then we'll disconnect?
Yeah, and anyone who has question, because we will be continuing this series with Maharaj and other beautiful saints and divine personalities with us. So you can use the hashtag Samvad with Pundrik ji and put up your questions. From next time, we'll make a list. We'll try to include as many as possible. And I think it is truly a blessing that being away also, we are blessed so beautifully. And this being with people, with saints like you all, it makes us realize that, you know, even in the times, in the hard times, and when there's challenging times, there is happiness. And it's so refreshing to see two people so happy and at peace and still radiating their beauty even in these times when everybody else is stressful. I think that's what Krishna does to us. Thank you so much for blessing us, and to all the viewers who has been with us. We look forward for next Samvad, and Dandavat pranams, and please take care, and everyone please stay home.
Jai
Jai.
Radhe Maharaj, Jai
Jai.
Radhe Radhe.
Radharamanji
I'm
ki.
missing Radha Raman ji. Radha Raman Lal ki Jai. आप सभी की जय.
Hare